Hello and welcome to another episode of Game Day from the UK, a live streaming show from at the Miami Heat UK, and we've got our three guys back as usual. Sam, you got here. We just about found you in. Can you hear us? Can you see us?
Yeah, all's good.
Good. Yeah, we had a bit of technical troubles, but Sam got in just as the countdown was running out there. So good to have you with us. Danny, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, man, I'm good.
Good. And John, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great, thanks.
Great stuff. We're here to preview the Golden State Warriors game tonight, but before we do, we'll touch on last time out in an infuriating defeat to the LA Clippers. Sam, we'll start with you this week, mate. Considering they was missing 4 starters, including 2 All-Stars, they was missing 2 All-Stars last time we played them in Kawhi and PG-13, and we lost. This time they was missing 4 starters, and we still lost, mate. Did you watch the game?
Yeah, I did, unfortunately.
Yeah, same. Is this our worst defeat of the season? There's been a few shocking ones, but does this go down there as maybe one of the sort of higher embarrassment ones? But considering that, it was really sort of Marcus Morris and Zubac, and that was it, and they still tore us apart.
Yeah, to me, it was the most embarrassing game because if you think back to the last pre-game pod, what I said on there was that as long as we outscore them, then we should be fine. And our defense doesn't matter. Well, I didn't say that, but basically, I was like, as long as we can outscore them, that should be fine. But offense was a problem, but it wasn't really the problem in the game. Defense was shambolic. Like, we were just letting anyone who wanted to hit threes just have a go at it. And it was just bad to watch, really. I think for me, that highlighted the biggest problem with this Heat team, and that's we just don't know what we're going to see on the court. We don't know if we're going to see a good offensive game. We're not going to see. We don't know if we're going to have a poor defensive game. We literally just don't know, and it's sad at this point. But hopefully we can get through it.
Yeah, definitely. And you're right. You pointed out something that's in my notes there is that normally where the Heat have been good this season is defensively, and it's just been no good on the offensive end. And then, this game we was actually decent offensively. We played well. We shot okay, and we was just shambolic defensively. They're just to be missing those players and to still let that many points go by, and to see this one slip was really frustrating. John, I know you didn't see the game, lucky you, but when you look at this 7-game road trip, we were saying sort of a realistic approach here to go through this stretch was maybe 4-3, even 3-4. We would have said, okay, I wouldn't grumble at that particularly. But if you was going to get that 4th game, you look at the LA Clippers as being one that you would have had down as an L. But when you see that was so depleted, that was one we had to steal. If we're going to come back from this record at 4-3 or even better, maybe that was one we had to take with that depleted team, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely was like having 4 starters out and then having, what was it, Amir Coffey going off for a career night to kill you after you had like a bad offensive game, and then defensive game is just Now we have to play Steph, then LeBron, and who else do we have? Kings, right?
Yeah, Kings as well. Yeah, it's
then
not
we have Fox and Hield.
Oh man, Fox will do something to us. Always does.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's not going to be pretty. That's not going to be pretty watching Fox come at us. Danny, Marcus Morris was one of the killers. In fact, there was a number, as you said. Amir Coffey had a career night. Marcus Morris had a career night. 32 points, season high. 6 from 8 from 3. Zubac also 20-something points. Just can't let this sort of thing happen, can you?
No, especially when you hear that apparently in the off season we nearly had Marcus Morris locked up.
Apparently so.
So yeah, it's something I've been hearing today. So it's a little sting in the tail when you see that tweet go out when Marcus Morris is putting up 20-something points on you. So it was a tough watch. Amir Coffey, like you said, like who's this guy? Like he's probably literally just come up from the G League. So like. Yeah, this was our game, and we just threw it away.
Yeah, it had to be. It was such a bonus win because it was one that, at full strength, nobody puts this as a W. You'd say you try your hardest, you might take it if you're lucky, or if things go your right well, you play really hard. But in general, you'd put that one down as an L. So to see it, to have that boost and still go down that, still get that L is really frustrating. Sam, before we come on to previewing Golden State, Kelly Olynyk is either really good or he's just absolutely useless. Against the Clippers, 2 points in 14 minutes, 2 rebounds. That's not going to do it either, is it?
Yeah, my biggest problem with Olynyk is he's consistently inconsistent. We could get a couple streaks of games where he's shooting the lights out. I think a couple games ago he had like 6 or 7 threes. And then we just have games where he's an absolute non-impact in the game. And unfortunately, he's at a key spot. He sits in a key spot in this team where obviously we're playing Bam, who we know he's developed a mid-range, but he can't stretch the court down to 3. Similarly with Jimmy, he's not known for his 3-point shooting or mid-range. And we can't play multiple games without that third person contributing from beyond the arc. It's okay if, we've got Duncan and we've got Tyler Hero or Kevin or Kendrick Nunn, who the case may be, but we need some additional help from beyond the arc, just lighting it up, because very much we can do within the paint and stretching to mid-range.
Yeah, definitely. Devaldo one there is saying Kelly is basically Blake Griffin. Hello, Devaldo. Right, Blake, you was pro Blake, Danny. You was the only one out of us 4 that was pro Blake. Now, as it happens, even though I would put it down completely, I put out a poll on Twitter to say, would you take Blake if it was obviously buyout, etc. And it got about 63% back to say yes, they would. So you was with the majority, mate.
I think that the fan base or Heat Twitter just want something, anything.
Yeah. It's at that point, and
it's at the point. It's at breaking point right now. Everyone's blow it up. We don't want to tank because we don't tank. That's not our thing. But let's blow it up and change something because something needs to change. So Blake Griffin, if he gets bought out, so why not? I don't know.
Yeah, I must admit, it is getting to that point. We'll talk about a couple of names in a minute, but before we do, obviously the reason why we're here is to discuss tonight's game against Golden State. This is going to be a fun game. It's going to be a close game, I think. Golden State are 8th in the West, 15-13 is their record. They are 10-6 at home, and like Miami, are currently on 5-5 in their last 10 games. The odds have Golden State by 1 on the spread, so it's going to be a close one, they believe. What do we think here? Do we think that, as we just said there about when we was previewing this West Coast trip, Sam, on the podcast last episode, we said, as we've already sort of just mentioned, maybe a 4-3 is realistic. This has to be a game if we're going to get that. Even if we're going to come away with 3 wins now, this has to be a game we have to take. This is one of the only sort of winnable ones left, I would say. What do you think?
Yeah, I think this will be a key game to bounce back to. If the Heat are looking to show out after the last game, this is one that could literally change perception of this team. But it wouldn't be easy because we know what we're going up against with Steph Curry shooting the lights out. Wiggins has been having a good season defensively as well. But I think the key to this game, we just need to be firing on all cylinders on offense, because the Golden State Warriors, they've been having this fantastic defensive season, in comparison to the previous season. And we just need to defend the 3, really. If we could just keep them below average of shooting from 3, as well as just hopefully putting some shots up with flowing offense, then we should have a good game. I think it will be close. The odds kind of show it anyways, but it's a winnable game. Let me put it that way. You just have to slug it.
It is a winnable game, and you're right to mention, defensively they've been good this year, and if we're going to have any success, it's going to come down to how well we defend the 3, which is something we've not done great this season. John,
the matchups, I'd say they're even.
Yeah, John. At the moment, a worrying stat is pace. They are second in the league in pace at the moment. That's not really Miami's game. We're going to need to slow this down. How do we do that?
Gotta have start with Bam and playing defense. It should all start with defense, and then force some turnovers, get into easier shots, get Duncan going as well, and hopefully Kelly will have his good game once in a while. And they are also without their bigs, so I think Precious and Bam just need to hit the balls more often now, just defend more.
Yeah. Danny, how do we stop? As Harry says, can't wait to see Steph drop 100 on us. How do we stop him going off tonight? Because that's going to be he's been in great form.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough assignment. It always is a tough assignment, no matter who's guarding Steph. So, and the fact that we basically have no sort of point of attack defense is going to be tricky for us. We switch so much. I know Bam can guard outside. We all know this, but we don't want him switching out on Steph the whole time. So. You're going to have to fight over those screens. Just do what you can to get into Steph's face and just get as much from our guards as we can because I don't think it's going to be pretty.
No, it's not going to be. We're not going to stop him. We're just going to have to try and contain him. That's the only way, really. And Avery Bradley's going to be a big miss tonight. That's something that we could have done with on the court tonight. Sam. Draymond Green's been in good form recently. His last 7 games, 6.5 points, 12.3 assists per game, 7.1 rebounds, 1.7 steals per game, and 1.5 blocks per game. So that's pretty much across the board. That's Draymond being back to his best.
Yeah, but being the person I am, I'm going to highlight that 6 points because he's averaging 6 points. If you put Bam on him, then you're bound to have a good game. My biggest issue there is to what extent we'll be able to stop his facilitation, because once he gets other people hot, he doesn't really have to score. It's just the rest of the team. I mean, we could hide Steph on Jimmy, and that could probably work. But it's just the other guys, really. And it's just containing Draymond's facilitation, I guess.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. John, there's always a sort of a heat killer, like a nobody that comes big. We've seen it every game. Again, as I said, you've already mentioned at the beginning of the show, Amir Coffey done big things. Obviously, Marcus Morris against Clippers. So taking away Steph, who else do you see as a big threat here that we need to worry
Wiggins.
about? Yeah,
Wiggins always killed us. Like, wasn't it? He dropped like 3 straight threes or 4 straight threes last season.
Yes,
we had like the lead, and then he just took over. So I would say him.
Yeah.
Is Wiseman out?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't think he's out today.
He's out
today.
Okay, that's good.
Okay. Capitalize on the rebounds then, I guess.
Yeah, something that we're not sort of that great on, which is something that we could address with a trade, which we'll come on to in a minute. Danny, biggest keys for a W tonight for Miami. Who's going to need to be big?
We're going to need to see more from people other than Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler, and Bam Adebayo. We need production from other people. So Duncan Robinson, I don't know what's going on with you, man. I know you got your own podcast. Maybe you're watching this one. I don't know, but just do something. Fix whatever's going on because it's not pretty right now. So we need some production from the other guys, and we'll be okay as long as Tyler's firing and Jimmy's facilitating. So is Bam. Let's get some production from some other people.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It is something that we've had problems with all season because not enough are doing it regularly. You look at the last game out, Jimmy Butler had a 30-point triple-double, ended in a defeat. Tyler Hero, 27 points, still ended in defeat. Bam Adebayo, I think 27 as well. I think, could be wrong, but a big game, still ended in defeat. So Duncan Robinson, you're right. We need some help. We need some help. So it's going to be. I think it's going to be. I actually think it's going to be a relatively low-scoring game because offensively we're not the best. Defensively they're quite good, so I could see this being low 100s winning this game. It's going to be a tough one. But if we've got something to prove here, it's to bounce back from this game because and we need to do it in a big way because it's going to start maybe coming away from us this season if we keep picking up these defeats. If this road trip, Sam, comes back with anything less than 2 wins, do you start to worry about, are the Heat going to make the playoffs? Are we going to be a 500 team? Because the record will start to get away from us a little bit.
I mean, I've already hit the panic button, but I'm not.
Good.
I mean, worst case scenario, we do the play-in tournament, but I don't think that'll be an issue because I think we're only 5 games behind 500, so it's an easy catch-up. We could easily, and the season's still got a long way to go. And keep in mind, not recent, but past Miami teams, in a regular season, they would have gotten hot around All-Star, just before All-Star season. So like 30-11, the team with Birdman and LeBron, I think, was like 27-game win streak or something like that. So we still got time to adjust. So I'm not that worried, but it's just the unpredictability, I guess.
Yeah, it's a crazy season. You're right to point that out. He are historically a much better team after All-Star break, which is positive for us. John, do you have any concerns about this? I mean, there's a strange sort of league where we're sort of only about 3.5 games back from about fourth. I think there's only about 8.5 games that separate top to bottom. So there's still reasons to be optimistic, but things have got to change pretty quick. Do you think?
Yeah, I'm not really concerned yet because, like you said, we're only 4 games back from like fourth. The East is just too weak. Like you mentioned, the Warriors are only like 3 games over 500, and they would be fourth in the East, and they're just fighting for the playoffs in the West. We're still making the playoffs for sure, and I wouldn't actually be concerned until after the trade deadline because we picked up Jay and Iggy last year, so I'm sure he will make a trade for another 2 quality guys.
Yeah, I think that leads us on nicely then, because something's got to happen. I know the front office will know this. There needs to be an adjustment here. The 4 position rebounding still seems to be an issue. We need something done. So the tweaks, the names here, let's go through a couple of them. There seems to be new names every day. Danny, what do you think about the latest one? One of them is Rudy Gay from Spurs.
Love it.
Love it.
Yeah, absolutely love it. I think it'd be perfect. I think maybe if you could even get LaMarcus as well, get a package for those 2, I think that'd be huge. I think that'd be massive. That'd fill a really big void. He's a Jay Crowder-like guy. I know the reason when in this position isn't because we lost Jay Crowder. That's not the reason, but he did leave a big gap that we haven't really filled, and obviously Mo Harkless is doing absolutely nothing. So. I love it. Yep,
no, that's a good point. 34 years old, so not the youngest, but 6'8", a former first-round pick, averages 11.2 points per game, 5.2 rebounds, 1.5 assists a game. As you rightly said there, if you could do something to maybe get LaMarcus Aldridge as well, although I'm not sure how appealing that would be to Spurs because most of Miami's trade assets are guards, which is what Spurs are quite heavy with. They're quite filled for that position. Sam, how do you like the idea of both Rudy Gay and LaMarcus Aldridge? Would you do that? Would that be an upgrade?
I do like LaMarcus Aldridge as a player. I'm just struggling to see how he will fit perfectly in this team. With regards to Rudy Gay, I actually like the Rudy Gay idea the more I think about it, because the Heat have quite a few issues, and him being a bit of an all-rounder, he kind of chips away from those issues one after the other. So I'd actually like to get him on a team. I don't think he's on a bad contract as well, so it's something that can be done.
Yeah,
yeah,
good stuff. Okay, so that we're all quite happy with that. I echo what you've just said there. I would take it. I think it is better than what we've got now. A name that's recently come up, I think just today. As I said, every day there's a new name. Andre Drummond, John. Danny's shaking his head. Sam's rolling his eyes. What do you think about Andre Drummond?
Yeah, I'm not a fan either. If we had him, he probably won't ask for a big hero or anyone. Would be a none or something, and that's it. So the price won't be that big. But I wouldn't start him next to Bam or anything. I would have him off the bench, replace Mo or anyone else off the bench. But I don't think he would want that role as a bench player.
Yeah.
And him with Bam, that's spacing's off there.
Plus, it's not filling the gap that you need filled. We're getting to a point now where we're seeing all these trade rumors, but half of them aren't filling any gaps, and they're not fulfilling what we need. So, Andre Drummond is I don't know. I don't like that at all.
Yeah, he would get the rebounds, but he's not helping in or the defense.
Spacing will be a massive issue, and if you're going to put him on the bench, which I doubt would happen, who are you putting at the 4? You're going to keep Kelly at the 4? I don't know.
Yeah, it fulfills a need a little bit in the terms of we're a bad rebounding team, and Andre Drummond can walk his way to a 20-point, 20 rebound game against any team. But you're absolutely right in terms of space and issue. I mean, a team with Drummond, Bam, and Butler all fighting for that same space sends a few shudders down my spine. So, Sam, you rolled your eyes originally. What do you think on this? You're not a fan of this trade?
I mean, I don't hate it, but I don't like it either. First off, his contracts is huge, and then it's just how we're going to fit him into the team. Obviously, you can't play him with Jimmy and Bam at the same time, and that's just going to mean you're going to pull him off the bench, and I don't see it adding up. It's just not a right fit for this team.
No, yeah, I tend to agree with you. You're certainly not giving up any assets for that. Let's just ask another question and forget those names that I've just said. Let me just go around the table. John, would you give up an asset for a short-term solution piece right now?
Yes. Like if it's a Oladipo Tucker type player, then for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so you would be happy to give up, say, a Duncan Robinson for one of those players?
I've been talking like around to my mates and that. I would love to like trade Duncan right now because I don't think he's worth getting paid.
No.
And having Oladipo and Tucker would help more than just Duncan.
Yep. Okay. Good. Danny, would you give up, say, a Duncan Robinson, for example, and Oladipo? Considering as though there's an expiring right now at the end, but he could be had now, or somebody like that. Let's not put a name to it.
Yeah, no, I know what you're getting at with
an
not
asset
putting a name to it, but
for a short-term solution.
Well, it's just, I don't know.
It's a tough one.
Because is a short-term solution going to fix this season? You know, and if it's not going to fix this season, then well, you pay Duncan next year.
Yeah, correct. I mean, that in my opinion, Danny, that is the right answer. This was actually a question polled by 5 reasons. I voted no on that because of this reason. A short-term solution will help this team, but is it going to affect this season? What's the maximum we're going to get this season? Well, at the moment, it doesn't look likely, but you would say with a short-term solution, I still don't really see us right now being past a second-round exit, personally. Do you think anything different to that, Sam?
No, I completely agree with you guys. I mean, it's just not worth it. I mean, Duncan Robinson, as much as a portion of Heat Twitter like to talk trash about him, he brings a lot to the table, and he could really help a contending team, and he is a good asset. But for a short-term solution, it's just not worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, it does split the fan base a little bit at the moment, Duncan, because he's on a bit of a bad run. But it's going to be an interesting one. It might even be the right time to start talking to him about a contract because his value is about as low as it has been for a while. So try and get those discussions in now and drive that value down in time to a team friendly contract. Okay, right, before I let you all go, let's get some predictions for tonight's game. Heat are taking the W tonight against Golden State Warriors. We'll start with you, John.
I'm gonna say yes. I've got to be optimistic about the team. I'll say close game, like maybe that down by 4, up like 4 or 5 points. Okay,
good start, Danny.
I hate to be a pessimist, but I'm taking the L on this one too. I'm sorry, guys. I just, I think our point of attack defense on Steph and the switching and stuff. I think he's just going to light us up, and if he doesn't, I think someone else might.
Okay, yep, no, it's hard to argue against it, honestly. Sam, we're 1-on-1 at the moment. What are you saying, buddy?
I'm going to be actually quite dramatic with that. I'm going to go with overtime win. It's exactly what this team needs, and it's exactly what Heat Twitter needs right now.
Well, it'd be fun to watch, yeah.
I mean, I like it. It would be good for Heat Twitter right now. It won't be good for us UK fans if a 3 a.m. tip goes to effing overtime. I won't be too pleased, but if it ends in a W, of course I will. So, all right, so we've got an overtime win. We've got a yes from John, a no from Danny. So it's all down to me. I think we're going... Look, it's very difficult to sit here and not listen to what you've just said, Danny, and go, yeah, no, we're going to win. But I think that there's going to be a bit of embarrassment in that dressing room. I think that there'll be a lot of talking from our All-Stars to say, right, let's put this right. We keep saying we're a good team. Now we've got to go and prove we're a good team. I think this is a game that can be had, but we've got to work hard for it. I'm going to be optimistic and say a Heat W. So there you go. There we go. We're 3-1 overall. Let's hope that is where we go. Excellent stuff. Another 3 a.m. tip. And I just realised today it's a bloody 3 a.m. tip tomorrow as well. We're back to back. I didn't realise. I thought there was a day in between. We're back to back. 3 a.m.s, 3 a.m.s. That is tough. So we'll see how we get on. Hopefully, we'll be back again tomorrow doing this to preview the Kings game. But we'll keep you in touch. Where can everyone find you, Danny, first of all?
At Danny Ronaldo on Twitter and Instagram.
Awesome. John?
At John DeBlanca _ on Twitter.
And Sam?
It's at Bam Aquara on Twitter and at Sam Aquara on Instagram.
Love it. All right, guys. Thanks again for joining me. Another late night in shoes. We should hopefully be back tomorrow. Thanks again for everybody for tuning in. You can watch this at any time on the YouTube channel. Please, while you're there, hit that subscribe button because there's lots coming. We're going to be doing this hopefully each game day. Until then, enjoy the game. We'll see you soon, guys.